You remember when you got her? You had hours and hours to just drive and dream. You spent your Saturdays fixing whatever needed fixing just to keep her running right. 20 years later, isn't it time you two got reacquainted? When you're ready, we're here. Because at LMC Truck, we know that while time may have passed, your passion for her never faded. Get her back on the road where she and you belong.
Now you're watching Gearz, brought to you by LMC Truck. Keep 'em on the road.
Well, it all started when I rolled in a 1967 Mercury Cougar. Now, the old car had been well used, but having lived most of its life in California, it was pretty solid for its age. So we drove it in the shop and began tearing it apart. The original interior was all there, but definitely needed upgrading. So the old seats and the carpet were removed, revealing a lot of old history along the way. Oh, yeah. Check this out. Come on over here. Look at this. You got a comb, you got a bracelet, you got a fork, you got a bar of soap, you got a business card. We may need to call that number. And you got a coupon for a trial-sized bag of colossal nuts. There you go. It also revealed that the floors had a few typical rust holes. This floor is still really solid. Ah, there's one. Got a little hole right there. But the rockers and the rest of the sheet metal were actually in pretty good shape. The original engine and transmission were still running with around 70,000 original miles on the clock. But with only 289 cubic inches and a 2-barrel carb and an automatic transmission, yeah, this was nowhere near enough power for what I had in mind. So those were removed and set aside. The old worn-out suspension was also pulled out and set aside. At this point, things got serious, and we pulled out the plasma cutter and sliced out the shock towers to make room for a TCI suspension complete with disc brakes and coilover shocks, so we could make this thing handle like a modern performance car. The rear end was also upgraded to match the front with a TCI torque arm suspension and a new Curry 9-inch rear end, also packed with disc brakes and coilovers.
Well, you see, that proves he was building the car to break the law.
No, it's
Disc
legal.
brakes?
Yeah.
Coilover shocks?
Well, that's
race car stuff.
No,
that's
that's
what
street
that
legal
is.
stuff.
Street legal. Don't plead ignorance with me. How low is the car?
I don't know.
You don't know?
It's low.
All you race car guys like it low to the ground. How low can you go?
No, but it's street legal. It's legal stuff.
Fine, don't give me that nonsense. Not in my streets, it's not.
Well,
don't plead ignorance to me. How low is that car?
With the shock towers out of the way and the suspension laid out, it was time for the engine. And for something called the V8 Interceptor, the motor had to be unique and powerful and big. So,
How you on the motor mount? I'm right on mine.
we dropped in 850 horsepower in the form of a 520 cubic inch John Cossey Boss 9 engine, topped with an 8-stack injection. Then we backed it up with a Magnum 6-speed transmission.
John Cossey. John Cossey builds race car engines. That's what you've got in your vehicle, a race car engine, don't you?
No,
don't you?
he does
Don't
build.
you? Don't you?
He does build racing engines, but the Boss 9 is a street engine. I mean, okay, it's 850 horsepower, but it's running on pump gas.
You can't get 850 horsepower on pump gas. That's impossible.
No, Cossey can.
Well, I don't care if it's Santa Claus. You just can't do it.
It's John Cossey.
I really don't like this John Cossey.
From there, it was time to dig into the body and do some modifications. So the drip rail was shaved and custom door handles installed. Then we sent the car and a list of things to do to the guys at the Hot Rod Institute, where the students Hot Rod Institute rocks! Is that good? Under the watchful eyes of the instructors, reworked the floor pans and the bumpers and smoothed out the bodywork per my instructions. Once that was done, the car was ready for paint. And they laid on an ultra deep black paint job with a special silver accent stripe that tells you everything you need to know about the purpose of this car.
Yeah, I see what happened there. You painted the car black.
Well, yeah, black is a
Well, you
great
know
color.
who paints cars blacks, don't you?
No.
Speeders, speed racers, hot rodders, race car drivers.
No. Black is a really popular
Now, I pull
color. It's a
over more-
popular color.
I pull over more black cars than any other car on the road because speeders drive them. You know how many chartreuse cars I pulled over last week?
I don't know.
0.
Okay, at this point, it was time to start putting the car back together. So the freshly painted and powder-coated suspension was bolted in place. And the huge motor and transmission were bolted in for the last time and wired up and plumbed.
Here she goes.
Now, another unique feature was the exhaust system that we created with the guys at Stainless Works. It features a custom set of mid-length headers that flow into a cutoff valve under the floor. Now, when the valve is closed, the exhaust flows through the mufflers and out the back of the car through special ports in the valence panel that used to hold backup lights, giving the car a nice rumbly tone for driving around town. However, when the valve is opened, the exhaust is diverted away from the mufflers and through the special side pipes that are tucked deep into the rocker panels for a clean, low-profile look.
Well, there it is right there. There's the problem, Stacey.
What, the pipes?
The sound.
The sound of the pipes.
Well, the whole kit and caboodle right there. You got your pipes, you got your sound coming out of the pipes. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, you can turn the pipes off. See, that's the cool thing.
But you don't. You hot rodders come right down the boulevard. Here I am. Look at me in my big old car making big old noise.
Well, hey, welcome back to Gearz and the long-anticipated test drive of the V8 Interceptor 67 Cougar. A test drive that was going extremely well, except for one particular law enforcement official that really seemed to have it in for us.
Okay, so when we left off, you had the car painted,
Yep.
mostly back together.
Yep.
Except for the interior. Was that next on the list?
That was next on the list.
It better be. That thing looked like a rat trap.
Special TMI seats and console were done in a buckskin vinyl and suede, and they were exactly what we needed to make the interior pop against that black paint. To add elegance, both the dash and the steering wheel were covered in real curly maple wood to match the Paul Reed Smith V8 guitar that was built to go with the car. Of course, custom gauges, a tilt steering column, and air conditioning bring modern comforts into a classic 60s interior. Now, to make sure the trunk is presentable as well, a TMI trunk kit was fit to hide the battery and the fuel tank and leave us a small but usable cargo space. Of course, the rolling stock had to be just as unique as the rest of the car, so shot wheels were loaded with Goodyear's supercar rubber, and we were ready to take this thing out and put it through the paces.
And that's where the problem starts.
But I haven't done anything yet.
Well, you started the car.
But that's not illegal.
Well, but see, you start the car, then you're going to get it on the road and open the pipes, and that's a slippery slope, Stacey.
Well, if I just, you gotta start the car. You can't build it and not start it.
You gotta nip it. You gotta dial it back. You gotta nip it in the bud. You start, you nip. Start, nip.
So you're saying that I should build a car and not start it?
Well, sure, I got books on my shelf I don't read. Still looks good on the shelf.
The first thing to test is the suspension. And keep in mind that the TCI suspension is designed to run road courses, so we knew we had the capability to handle well, even with the big engine. And we weren't disappointed. With a little bit of adjustment on the shocks, we'll be able to dial in the suspension so it will handle as well as virtually any performance car on the road today, and be a lot of fun on a racetrack or a road course if we want to do that. With the suspension dialed in, the big question now is, what is that big Cossi engine capable of? Well, with 850 horsepower and 750 foot-pounds, it will obviously boil the tires whenever you feel like it. But out on the highway, it will rumble along in traffic with no lurching or overheating and give no indication of the incredible power that's on tap. Well, that is, unless you look at those big stacks sticking out of the hood, the wing on the back, and the huge rear tires and the side pipes. It's kind of hard not to see those. However, when you start to lay into the gas, the big motor roars to life, and with 6 gears to choose from, you'll quickly find yourself on the far side of the speed limit with a lot more room to go. The only limiting factor here is just how big of a speeding ticket do you want? Now, the exhaust system is something that we've talked about a lot, and having exhaust cutouts is some of the most fun that you can have at a stoplight. The sound of the Boss 9 through unmuffled pipes is just magic and idle. And it's absolutely bombastic when you open the throttle.
This is Bernard, Checkpoint Chickie. Come back.
This is dispatch. Go ahead, Bernard.
Keep your eyes out for an interceptor. I've got somebody tearing up these back roads. Keep an eye out for a black car, tan interior. Wow, so this is funny to you, huh? This is a real hoot.
This is great. Seriously, you were out in the trees?
Well, we don't have no porta potties out there when you're fighting crime.
Are you sure you don't want to shut this off?
I got nothing to be ashamed of. Sometimes you drink coffee, you gotta let her. You ever drain the fluids here at the shop?
Not like that, I haven't. Of course, the look and the stance of the car with its hot rod rake and black paint make it stand out like a ballistic missile to the other vehicles on the road. And the fact that it's a Mercury Cougar make people take a double and triple take. trying to figure out what it was that just blew past them. And there you have it, the V8 Interceptor. Hopefully this gives you an idea what it takes to build a vehicle like this. And
Well, I knew I'd finally catch you. Took me weeks. I've been on county roads, highways, side streets, main streets. Look at this thing. Oh, it's a real rebel, I tell you what. You got more pipes than Jeff Galooly at a skating rink. Look at this. Black car. I'm going to get you for a black car with brown interior. You got your pipes wide open, speeding, evading arrest. Oh, I'm going to throw the book at you, buddy. The whole book. Well. I'm afraid in lieu of charges, there's really only one thing we can do.
What?
Yeah, read it and weep there, Hot Rod.
And now, Parts Bin.
Most people know that keeping heat and sound out of your vehicle is a challenge, especially through the floor where all the heat and noise is at. Well, DEI has been solving the problem of heat and noise for a long time. And when it comes to covering floors or irregular shapes, they've gone a step beyond boom mat and come out with this stuff called Floor and Tunnel Shield. Now this comes in big sheets, and you have 10 mil aluminum on one side and then a fiber pad bonded to the other side. Now, as you can see, this is a very thin combination, but this combination will block radiant heat up to 1700 degrees. Yeah, let that sink in for a minute. Now, the fact that it's aluminum means that you can mold it and shape it to fit around all those weird nooks and crannies that you need. And then once you have it how you want it, you just pull the plastic off the back, expose the adhesive, and you stick it in place. If you want to keep heat and noise from coming up through the floor of your vehicle, DEI's Floor and Tunnel Shield is the best way to do that.
And now, the Gladiator Search and Rescue Build, powered by Bestop.
Hey everybody, as you can see, we have been busy on our new Gladiator project. Not only to remove a little bit of the ugly, but to also make a trail-worthy search and rescue vehicle. Now, at this point, the new fiberglass nose and hood that we put on is off getting painted. So today we're going to deal with the interior because, based on what we did on this old Scrambler, a lot of you have been asking, can we put those seats into a newer Jeep? And the answer is yeah, kinda. Because even though PRP does not make replacement seats for the new Gladiator, they do make a high quality seat cover that will give you that look with those seats. Take a look. The kits include covers for the front seats, the rear seats, even the headrests. And you can get them in different color combinations so they'll match the look that you're after. The best part is installing these are so easy you can practically throw them into place. Okay, maybe it's not quite that easy, but it's pretty close. Because these covers are built to go right over your stock seats, and then various different zippers and Velcro and straps are designed to hold them tightly in place so it looks like factory upholstery. This is one of the most noticeable changes that you can do to your rig in just a couple hours.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Woodward Fabrication, selling quality metalworking equipment since 1966.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from Swede Frieden from Kazaloff, Alaska. And Sweet has been busy. He has been working on, check this out, a 1936 Chevy 4-door deluxe sports sedan. Now, Sweet said he started this thing in 2012 after it sat in his yard for 30 years. He was getting himself psyched up for it. But man, when he jumped into it, he went all out. Check this out. First, he removed the wood in the doors and replaced that with metal, pulled the body off and went to work fixing the body, the frame, and the floors. For suspension, he put a Mustang 2 in the front and a 4-link in the back. Then he dropped in a 350 Chevy to get it down the road, and he says it drives great. Now, he says this is a resto mod, so he says I'm probably always going to be modifying it some, but, and this is the important thing, he says it brings a smile to his face every time he takes it down the road. And I bet there's not many of those going down the road, Swede. So to recognize such an awesome project, we hooked up with our buddies at Woodward Fab. We're going to give you one of these big shears so you can cut some metal and do some fabrication. I guarantee you needed that on this project. Also, since you're obviously a gearhead, we're going to give you one of our Gearz t-shirts, and then we're going to give you one of our deluxe planning books so you can keep track of everything you did on that project or your next one. Then on top of that, we're going to give you a gift card from LMC Truck because there's all kinds of great stuff in these catalogs that will help you on your project. And finally, we're going to give you one of our Gearz tow trucks to help you drag that next project home. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on this, get your project featured on the show, go to the website, go to Gearz Nation, and submit it into what you're working on. The website's also the place to find out more information on any products you may have seen on the show, any Gearz merchandise, and how to join Gearz Nation so you can stream any of our episodes commercial-free. Also, don't forget to check us out on Amazon Prime, where you can watch past and current seasons of Gearz and check out our new show, Stacey David's Restoration Series. Now, this series is designed to help you stay on track and navigate the challenges so you can complete the project successfully and keep your sanity. Finally, don't forget to like us on Facebook and Instagram so you can get some behind-the-scenes footage of our weekly web series, Shifting Gears. And if you're a radio person, make sure you check out our new podcast, Tales of a Gearhead. All right, that wraps it up for us today. I'm gonna go smoke some serious tires on that Cougar. I've been waiting a long time to do that. Also, I'd like to thank comedian Rick Roberts for coming out and adding his Barney 5 to this particular show. We had a lot of fun. Get out there, work on something, and have fun with it. We'll see you next time.